Hi, I'm Eric Stine, the CEO of Sitecore, and I'm thrilled to be here today for a Digital Visionary series with Tim Dickson, the Chief Digital and Information
Mhm.
Officer of Regal Rexnord. Regal Rexnord is celebrating, if I remember correctly, its 70th
Anniversary,
anniversary.
absolutely.
And I'm certainly glad on a day like today that you're around because it's about 90 degrees here in Chicago. And I think you guys make the electric motors in
Motors.
just about every HVAC system in America. So talk to me a little bit, Tim, about a brand that goes back 70 years and is still on the cutting edge of digital and information technology.
Yeah, it's a great story and a great company. I've been there about a year and a half now and certainly learned the history quite well. It's a company that's grown through acquisitions, quite frankly. Going back to 70 years ago, if you've ever heard of a town named Beloit, Wisconsin, Regal Beloit partnered with venture capital, started buying up engines and motors businesses. We bought GE's engines business, we bought Emerson's motors business, and just started growing from there up to about a $2.5 billion company.
Oh,
And then when my boss joined in 2019, the CEO convinced the board to merge with the next two largest players in our space. One just happened to be in downtown Milwaukee called Rexnord Industries. And so the company became known as Regal Rexnord, a $4.5 billion company. And then right before I joined in 2023, we merged with our equivalent in Europe and Asia called Ultra. And so just really over the last 3 or 4 years, this Regal Beloit engine and motor company, 2.5 billion is now over a $6 billion business and driving some cool innovation.
so you joined the company at a fairly significant inflection point,
Hmm.
right? It's a year and a half, and that just sort of brings us to the dawn of the agentic AI era.
It
Um,
was still a little early back then, but
what attracted you to Regal Rexnord?
so a couple of different things. So one, my previous role, I was the CIO at Generac Power Systems in Milwaukee, and certainly the title was attracted to me. I was doing some cool digital stuff, but still in the CIO rank. So becoming a chief digital and information officer and not having to move outside of the city of Milwaukee was certainly attractive. The second thing is Regal was in essence everything they offered was 2 or 3x bigger than what I had. The team, the budget, the size, the reporting relationship, the officer of the company aspect. So all of that kind of added up and just made for a perfect fit right there in the city of Milwaukee.
You have done a ton in the area of content-driven
Hmm.
commerce. And we have this fundamental belief that the distance between content and commerce is getting shorter,
Yeah.
particularly in a time and space where AI opens up the opportunity to deliver on personalized
Hmm.
experiences that drive real human connection. Content equals connection, connection equals commercial activity. Talk to me about some of the stuff you've done in the realm of content-driven
Yeah.
commerce and what excites you about it.
So one, we're mainly a B2B company. We do have some B2C, but it's very small. And that business would have come from some of our most recent acquisitions. So mainly a B2B company selling to large OEMs, as well as large distributors. So that context is important in the aspect of what we're trying to do with Sitecore. The second thing is, as a result of those many acquisitions, they all came with their own content management and e-commerce platforms. And so before I joined in 2023, the previous CIO in the business teams had been for years trying to integrate into a common stack. And so the timing was perfect for me at that point to join because most of the integration had been complete. And my boss brought me in as a person who knew digital technologies. And now that the integration of all these businesses was complete, we were trying to determine if we could leverage tools like AI, generative AI, agentic AI, chatbots, etc., and really show if digital can provide growth for the company. Industrial manufacturing companies, grow 1 to 2% per year, if that. And if you can get an extra quarter point, half a point, God forbid, a full point of growth as a result of anything in the area of digital, that is, you're cooking right then and there. And so when I joined and saw and inherited the website, I knew that transformation just had to occur for us to do the types of things that we were looking to do with content, with e-commerce, with IoT, and with AI. And so this platform for me was a very important decision to select this platform. The process was a pretty thorough one. And quite frankly, as we sit here in the city of Chicago, Sitecore sponsored my first hackathon in the history of the company, just 4 blocks away
I
in
love
in
that.
our digital office. And so I believe I was probably one of the early ones, a year and a half ago, to rapidly prototype via a hackathon event, both XM Cloud and Order Cloud.
Wow.
So I saw the partnership that Sitecore was willing to offer me, a new guy, looking to get some quick wins in the digital space. Allowed my team to partner directly with your product folks and really prove out these products in which we're going nuts with today.
I feel really, really proud to hear that story. Tell me, what are you the proudest of over the last year and a half?
My team. So I inherited what was predominantly, because of the M&A integration, predominantly an infrastructure and ERP and integration IT organization. And for me to come in with all these big ideas around digital and AI and data and e-commerce and IoT, I needed to enroll my team in that strategy, and I needed a significant amount of upskilling. And so specifically, when I take a look at this space, we had an on-prem, we still have an on-prem infrastructure and Sitecore capability, but introducing tools like microservices, headless infrastructure and headless design. These were new concepts to a team of which had been developing in an on-prem world for 10 to 15 years. So I didn't know whether the team for sure was going to embrace both my strategy and the tech stack in the cloud. So it really is a story of upskilling. It really is a story of IT transformation driving the business and digital transformation, which I love to tell. So I'm most proud of the team and the transformation they've made.
Let's talk about that intersection, because it's something that I think we share from a values perspective. Our mission as a company is to simplify how marketers reach, engage, and serve their audience. And particularly now, when audiences have become fractured and fragmented, disrupted, distracted, so much harder to reach that audience. And I feel like our job, and what I'm hearing from you, your job is, how do you simplify complexity? How do you translate very complex concepts, whether it's your product or the technology you used to tell that story? Talk to me a little bit about how you help simplify complexity, both for your business partners internally and for your end market customers.
Absolutely. So unless you're in the industrial manufacturing space, you might not even know of Regal Rexnord. I call ourselves the Procter & Gamble of industrial manufacturing. Regal Rexnord is the overriding brand of the company, but what our distributors and OEMs would know are our product brands. So we have over 60 product brands that folks have been buying for a number of years. Those HVAC customers that you just mentioned have been buying our Century and Agentic motors for years that run air conditioners and heaters and heat pumps. And so the strategy is kind of twofold. I wanted to promote the Regal Rexnord brand to become more brand aware. But once we drove customers to this new site, I wanted to make it easy for them to go down a very product-specific path. And once they go down the product-specific path, then all the other things around personalization and content and e-commerce and predictive analytics can come into play. But coming to the website first to build a little bit more of the company brand and having them interact with us from that perspective before going down a product path was really my goal.
I love the fact that you have digital and information sitting side by side. Talk a lot about, and you just mentioned data as well. In a world that is about to become awash in AI, good and bad, valuable and challenging, how do you think about balancing good governance with all of that data governance, the heritage information technology piece with the forward-looking digital?
So one, I think there's two aspects. One, you have to build a culture of innovation. And so if you ask anyone on my team, the saying that I repeatedly offer to my team is think big, have a strategy, have an outcome that you want to achieve, but start small. And then when you prove that out and prove that the business outcomes can be achieved, you scale fast. And you look at what we're doing with XM Cloud, that is exactly the strategy. We're trying to accelerate the rapid build out of these brand new product pages, which are brand new offerings for the company, allow the business to go to market faster, build these sites very quickly, and get our product brand out there.
I was so impressed with that the first time we met. My own background at Heritage is in CPG, so brand-driven companies, but organized very much like industrial manufacturers, multiple divisions, brand presidents, and you always need to build on a series of wins to create momentum. So you just had 2 new sites
Mm-hmm.
go live
Yeah.
on the platform. Aerospace division, is that?
Yeah, aerospace, our brand new aerospace site, and perfect timing. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good as a CDIO, but we launched the brand new aerospace site during the week of the Paris Auto Show.
Gotta love
And
that.
so the team was obviously over in Paris showcasing the brand and the opportunity. It was just a perfect fit, perfect timing for that to happen. So that was a win. We've also launched a motors, ran a brand new motors.regalrexnord.com website. We entered into the ports industry, and that's an interesting industry, obviously, these days with trade
Yep.
and all the conversation. So entering into the ports industry with a brand new product details page and the offerings that we can provide in this crazy world in that space was awesome as well. We have a brand new transfer switch business through an acquisition up in Canada called Thompson Power Systems. That was not only our very first brand new product site, but that will be our first site where we go to market through a brand new e-commerce checkout, through guest checkout. We're going to let anyone buy one of those products with a credit card, whether you're an OEM, whether you're a contractor, or whether you're an end user. So I'm super excited to see how that works. But all of these things would not have been possible without rapidly building out of these content pages to showcase our products and personalize those to the various different customer profiles that we have.
So what you're talking about really is the power of storytelling,
Absolutely.
right? How storytelling allows you to connect content with
Absolutely.
commerce. Where do you see that going? What's your vision for the future? What do you inspire and motivate your team towards
Yeah.
when you think about what's possible?
So going back to the brands, the customer set is just so diverse. An OEM, an HVAC OEM, Carrier, Trane, Lennox, etc., is different from a large distributor, is different from an engineering firm, is different from an end user, is different from a contractor. And so I don't know if you would get that fully, if you'd appreciate the full diversity of customer profiles in the consumer space, but that's what you deal with in the world of B2B. And so understanding your customers is the root of any sort of digital strategy initiative. AI is going to be very important to us in how we look to understand our customer better, faster, quicker, so we can present the content to them in a way that they not only learn about our products, content, images, videos, all those things that come with generative AI, but then we make it easy to purchase and support as well. So we want the full experience, which is why this platform was a perfect fit for us.
Talk to me a little bit about some of the challenges that you faced over
Mhm.
the last year and a half and how you have navigated around them and what challenges you see posed by the rapidity of change
Yeah.
going forward.
So change is good. You just have to be ready to deal with it. We live in an interesting world, and so you have to be receptive to change. And I like to leverage the term, I love to personalize the change. I like to make it personal for whether it be the folks on my team or the business partners that I work with. So specifically the folks on my team, huge change and transformation from an on-prem architecture to microservices and headless. We needed help from Sitecore and we needed help from your partner network to make that transition. That team mostly sits in India and is not here in the US. So think about all of the complexities that go into a new cloud technology, a migration from on-prem to microservices, a new training partner in a country half a world away. And so the fact that somehow we made that work and the team was the one who incubated and delivered these first sets of sites. And so with the training from a partner, I was really impressed to see how quickly my team came up to speed and changed and embraced this new architecture. That means we're ready for AI. If we were not able to make that subtle shift from on-prem to microservices and headless, AI might not be possible right now, but it is.
I love that lens on personalization because one of the things that we hold to as our company vision are digital experiences so powerful they drive real human connection.
Absolutely.
It's a personalization value. And I believe that AI really unlocks the power, the possibility, and the potential of personalization at scale. And I wouldn't have historically associated that with an engine for an HVAC system, and you just put a very, very human face on that. Talk to me about how you think about, as you're building these new sites, the importance of personalization and connecting with the end market.
Firm believer in that AI will help in a couple of different areas. It certainly has benefits, and from a back-end tools perspective, no doubt. It will certainly have benefits in terms of designing templates and pages. It will certainly drive benefits of identifying that customer and who they are specifically, not only the company that they're from, but their role within that company quicker, faster, better. AI has already proven that that is the case. But where the human element still comes into play, where I haven't seen AI progress as much, is that storytelling, is that brand awareness and the promotion of the brand. That I see still being a very big aspect of the business and the marketing teams I work with on a regular basis. So you can leverage AI to quickly spin these things up, but unless you have that story to tell and bring that human element and make that connection, it's not going to be hugely successful.
What do you see the biggest opportunities and lessons? What have you learned in terms of stakeholder management across the commercial side of the business, the marketing side of the business, the digital side of the business? If you could offer any advice or benefit of your experience for stakeholder management.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer. If you've ever heard the term democratization, it's used quite a bit today with AI, but it really applies to any set of emerging technology. No matter what set of emerging tech my team and I bring into the company, we want to bring everyone in the business along at the same time. These hackathons that we do, these workshops that we invite strategic vendor partners like yourself, the intention is not only to educate myself and my team, but is to bring my business partners along at the same time. Because if they're not involved in the beginning of that incubation, they're less likely to adopt that technology and then promote what it is that we are, in essence, enabling for them. So that's absolutely number one. Number two, quite frankly, they're closer to the customer than IT is. And so there's something that we can learn from their expertise, and you just might see it from a different perspective involving them early on and right away. So you need to bring along your business partners, and they just might offer something different from a point of view perspective than what you have originally envisioned. They might suggest something, some use case for that technology that from an IT perspective, you just weren't planning on.
Tell me, what's the project you'd most like to do? If you could tackle any project in the world for any company in the world, what's the project you'd most like to take on?
Well, I'm all about transformation. I'm all about driving, game-changing initiatives. One of the things my team and I were able to do very early on at Regal Rexnord was implement a generative AI chatbot on our newly designed regalrexnord.com website. Little did I know that 70-year-old distributors and OEMs would rather interact via a chatbot interface to find answers to commonly asked questions and get content and product spec sheets than call a customer service agent and talk to somebody over the phone. Not complete 100% transformation, but we've shown a significant percentage of that traditional profile in the industrial manufacturing space would now rather operate in that mode. So that is another channel, and that offers huge possibilities. Never would I have thought of a year and a half ago that at some point you could potentially drive e-commerce through a chatbot experience. That is truly possible right now that we've got this traffic that comes through that interface and wants to interact in that way. So that's exciting to me. That has not been done before in the industrial manufacturing space that we're in. I know that for a fact. So I'm hoping to enable that as a customer first, company first, industry first type of transformation.
That's remarkable. Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to do a little lightning round now. Content-driven commerce is all about storytelling. What's your favorite book?
The AI Playbook by Eric Siegel. And you guys are sponsoring my Summerfest Tech AI conference next week in Milwaukee, and he's our keynote speaker on Tuesday morning. Eric is one of those guys, if you ever do some research on him, 10 years ago, he was the known AI guy in the traditional machine learning space. And he wrote a book, Predictive Analytics, which is an awesome book. And that told the story of AI 10 years ago. That was machine learning. He has transformed and written this book that I read last year called the AI Playbook. And it's really about how to drive both generative and agentic AI solutions with business outcomes being the first thing that you focus on. Before you write any code, before you ingest any data, before you build any models, you have to have defined and have alignment with the business in terms of what those expected outcomes could be as a result of that model. So game changing 10 years ago in the machine learning space, very popular, very, very well known amongst the data scientists, but very popular now from a business perspective because of that business value and outcomes driven sort of strategy.
Favorite movie?
Top Gun.
Why?
Maverick did some pretty interesting things in both of his movies. And I heard they're coming out with a Top Gun 3. And in IT, especially having both the D and the I in my title, sometimes I do feel a little maverick. And when you work for a company who's not had this role before, when you work for a team that's not experienced some of this technology, there is some newness and there is some risk, but it's balanced risk. There's not, in essence, risk aversion. There's very much an openness to take some risk. When it works, scale it fast and go nuts. When it doesn't, fail fast and move on to something else.
You said team. Favorite Midwestern sports team?
Green Bay Packers.
Okay. Favorite Big Ten team?
Penn State.
Last question. Favorite thing about Wisconsin?
So people would say that the cold is what would not make them move to Wisconsin, but I actually enjoy the winter almost as much as the summer, because what in essence it allows you to do is get creative with some of the things that you take on and entertain yourself and your family with. And so people who have not lived in the snow, dogs love the snow, kids love the snow. We don't get as much of it as we did when I was growing up, but the snow offers something different that, if you live in the South, you just might not experience.
That's a great way to close. So if it is snowy and cold in Wisconsin and your office is warm, it's 90 degrees in Chicago on a day like today and your office is pleasant, it's probably because of Regal Rexnord. Tim, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Eric.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.